Welcome once again to the Sage. Last week, I hope you didn't miss it. I hope you were with us. We started an episode that I confessed was very, very dear to my heart on health. It's been a passion all my life, being a health professional myself, but also because I'm deeply convinced that health is perhaps the first thing, one of the most essential ingredients to a healthy, progressive people and nation. It is also an area where we can all do a great deal, where we can all contribute in ensuring that we are a healthy nation and therefore that we progress. Having done a lot of that talk, I've come to perhaps the most exciting part of what the series as we unfold, where, as we promised, we bring you in ordinary people like you and I, but experts in their own areas who are indeed doing something in that area as a contribution to nation building, as a contribution to making the health of our people better. I have two wonderful, wonderful people on set today. I often always end up saying young people. The idea is not just to have young guests, but when you're so old, you have young guests, because most of the guests that come are younger than you are. But truly, I do have two wonderful young people on set with me today. I don't know, a beautiful young man and young woman. Where do I start? Let me start from the person nearest to me. I am indeed pleased and honored to introduce EVERYDAYKINDNESS to the set. Ebere, welcome. Let me reveal a secret. I always dance and reveal the secret and say that indeed Ebere is a wonderful human being, but she's also a C4C entrepreneur. I am very proud of her achievements. The particular project we're going to discuss today was indeed what she introduced to us during the C4C fellowship last year. And Ebele, shall I share the secret? That when she presented her business plan at the end of the training, she wowed our audience. Everybody was clamoring. Everybody wanted to be a part and to support her initiative. So Ebere is a nurse, but she will have time to introduce herself better. It's a privilege. C4C is proud of you. Welcome on set.
Thank you so much.
And next to her, by a very strange coincidence, is Dr. Alex Nnadozie. You know, I hope I haven't revealed anything by the fact that they bear the same surname. Dr. Alex Nnadozie is a principal medical officer at Gwarimpa General Hospital in Abuja. And he is also very, very much a part of the project, and therefore such an important asset to us in this discussion. Alex, you're welcome to the set.
Thank you very much for having us here.
They are two very bright young people, both of them from the medical field. Let me throw the ball back at their court and say, tell us a bit more about yourself. Well, better, since I introduced you first, let me make Alex tell us a bit more about yourself.
Thank you very much. I'm delighted to be here, really. I've heard about the Sage, and I'm happy to be part of the Sage today. And I'll tell everybody I see that I was there.
We will tell everybody. We will air you, and everybody will hear you. Yes.
Exactly. Like you said, I'm Dr. Alex Nnadozie. I work with the Federal Capital Territory Administration, Gwarimpa General Hospital. I've also at the time worked in Kwali General Hospital. I was transferred there, but later transferred back to Gwarimpa, so I'm with the Department of Surgery. I've been doing surgery all my life since I became a doctor. So there are a lot more things that I support my wife to do. Okay, so I've revealed that secret.
You didn't want me to, so it's no longer a secret.
Yeah. So I went to Enugu State University of Science and Technology College of Medicine. By the grace of God, I was actually among the best 10 graduating students at the time when we finished, and we were given automatic housemanship in the hospital, the 10 of us. And it was in that housemanship that the whole journey, you know, the stories behind what we saw from cutting our teeth as medical doctors and medical practitioners started. And it led to a lot more things that have followed over the years. And it's been interesting to know that it was in that same environment that my wife and I met.
Wow, wow. So it gave birth to many things.
Yes, it did.
To the profession, to the business idea, yes. And perhaps the most important thing, to the family.
Yes.
That was subsequently formed.
Yeah.
Great, great. Yeah. I will come back to you. But before I turn to Ebere and ask her to tell us a little, let me tease you by asking you, how long ago was it that you graduated?
I graduated in 2012. So
which is how many years?
About 12 years ago, 13 years ago now.
You want me to tell you when I graduated?
Please, you make me feel so little in this show.
Okay, I will keep quiet. Well, I won't keep quiet. And I have to publicly admit that it's been almost 50 years.
Wow.
Yes.
Wow.
But the beauty about medicine is that as long as you make the effort to keep informed, you know, you grow, you develop, you mature, you achieve with time. You don't, you know, it's not a depreciation.
You build the experience.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I proudly accept the fact that yes, it's almost 50 years. And that it's been very wonderful 50 years, and I have been very naughty. But I'm a public health physician, so I'm a doctor who doesn't confine herself to hospitals. That is by nature of the training, and have had the opportunity to go over many continents in the world. Yeah. So welcome on set, my junior colleague.
Thank you very much.
So Ebere, tell us about yourself.
Okay, I am a nurse. I went to School of Nursing, Isut Teaching Hospital, Parkland, and after that I worked with some private sectors. I worked with Bath Care Laboratory, I worked with a private hospital, then I did locum with Gwarimpa General Hospital for some time.
Is that where it happened?
No, well, it happened from school, but then I had the chance to work with Gwarimpa General Hospital in the neonatal unit before I ventured into other things. So, yes.
Welcome. It's like I said, it's a pleasure because as you trained with us in C4C, we got to learn about this beautiful, wonderful enterprise. So your enterprise is called the African Emergency Healthcare Practices Limited. Let me say to our audience, it is a health education outfit, and which was one of the important areas we cited as we described the health situation in the country in terms of health, the importance of health education in terms of providing information both for self, both for the community, and so on. Please tell us what inspired this? You are a nurse who one would think should be there doing nursing. You're a doctor doing your surgeries, but why this?
Okay, it came from experiences from the hospital, because while working at the hospital, we would have patients come in after they've bringing a patient in, and by the time you look at the patient, you'll see that they have done some things wrong at home before bringing the patient in. And also we've had, before I go into this, I am the CEO of the African Emergency Healthcare Practices Limited, and what we do is we teach life-saving skills. We've gone to secondary schools. We've taught about life-saving. We've gone to Premier Academy, and we've gone to Leila Blossom School, where we taught about life-saving skills. We've also done occupational health with some corporate organizations and road safety. We've done that. So seeing how the things that people have gotten wrong by the time they bring a patient to the hospital, we saw the need to go into these things. We also have videos that talk about where we educate people on what they should have done before bringing a patient into the emergency room. Now, for example, we had a patient brought into the emergency room. The patient was convulsing, and the mother at some point threw up her clothes and wanted to urinate on the baby, to get the baby to drink the urine, because she was told that it's a medication for convulsion, that it's going to help the baby.
Repeat.
So,
Yes.
Yeah,
I'm going to interrupt you and repeat that, because when you just say it like it, the audience may not understand. Our misconceptions can be gross.
Yeah.
Let me elaborate on that particular story.
Yeah.
I was telling you how the journey started from housemanship. So we were in that same hospital. I was doing my housemanship, and it was children emergency posting I was doing at the time. And because I did not grow up in the southeast, I grew up in the north most of my life. So university was like southeast experience. So I had not seen that in my entire life, both as a non-medical person and as a medical person. So they rushed this convulsing baby into the emergency. The baby wasn't convulsing at the time they came. They rushed. Our child has been convulsing at home, and while they were rushing in, another episode started. Mm-hmm. The mother threw the child on the floor, straddled the baby, and started peeing into the face. If you watch on YouTube, our first health education video was on febrile convulsion, because this story would not leave our minds. I jumped on top of the chair, but the nurses there, they had the experience. They had seen all these things several times, so they were so calm. I was shaking, like, what is going on here? And they say you give them urine. Urine helps. This is in addition to the palm kernel oil they feed them with. And a convulsing baby is not conscious, so can't even swallow well. You don't even know where the fluid is going into. You could aspirate, and this is actually what kills a lot of them. So that was one of the major stories we kept, because we come back, we share our stories from the day that meant, see what happened today, and how do you actually solve this problem? How do you tell women out there that you don't give urine to your baby who is convulsing? You tell this one person, the person doesn't believe, because the information out there is strong.
So from the mothers and the aunties and all the caregivers, the grandmother. So
a very similar second story, the one that broke the camel's back, and we said we need to start talking, was in Gwarinpa General Hospital. So I had gone to the children emergency again. I'm not in pediatrics, but I was there talking with the doctor, and they rushed this baby in, convulsions still. And then the nurse collected the baby from the mother, took to the treatment table. There was a large entourage with this woman, from the neighborhood where they were living. So all these people were asked to stay outside. They all went by the window, close to where the treatment table was. The nurse was withdrawing paraldehyde, the injection you give to abort the convulsion. So as she was doing that, these people from the window were telling the woman, don't allow her, no injection. And the woman told the nurse, they said they give them injection. These nurses and doctors are usually overwhelmed, a lot of work. So all the nurse could say was, excuse me, madam, leave me alone. And I was standing by the side. And she was withdrawing. By the time she was ready to give the baby, those people were still shouting, no grill, no grill. The woman rushed and held the nurse. They said they give them injection. The nurse said, madam, if you don't leave this place, security, take this woman out. And they were taking the woman out. Then I called the woman aside and I said, I understand what you're saying. No be this one. I know the one where they give them injection, but no be this one. This one, they will give them injection, the convulsion will stop. And the woman said, you dey work here? So then I started asking questions. Wow, how do you give these people this information? Are you going to wait for them to always make their mistakes and come? And this child we're talking about had been given all what not before they came, before they arrived.
They had
You know,
already
you would
tried
see some
home
oil
medication
from the mouth,
and so on.
they've given a lot of
They
things.
use spoons in the mouth to keep the teeth from clenching when the convulsion is
we're
happening.
like, how do you, okay, maybe we should start talking. But we said there's a lot of medical talks going on out there. But we realized that even for me as a doctor, medical shows are boring. Because people come and they speak the jargons and all that, and you just be wondering, if you're not a medical person, you'll be wondering, what are they talking about? So how can you pick it? So we said we have to look for a way to break it down, to add humor to it like you to do whatever to it, to get the people captivated so that they are enjoying and learning at the same time. So that's actually how we decided to start the show as the African ER, the African Emergency Room, you know, which is later now powered by the company. She stepped aside from work to start.
And so I am fascinated and excited by the fact that perhaps so many years ago the video technology wasn't available, but that you thought of now using that to produce skits, I will call them skits, in the parlance of the media profession, that actually make that the information passing more interesting and so on. So, you know, we'll hear more from you about actual skits and videos and so on that you have produced. Please go on, my dear.
All right, I was going to say we also have talked about us doing life-saving skills, teaching life-saving skills to students, and now this is because we've heard several times about accidents that happen in school, and one that happened a few years ago was a little boy of about 3 years who choked on his meat while he was eating in school. And because the teachers didn't know how to help this little baby, it took a while before they got him to the hospital, and unfortunately he died before they got into the hospital. So we saw the need of teaching life-saving skills to both students and teachers so that we can avoid some of these incidences. So it's a way to encourage people to learn these skills and prevent such emergencies, or be able to step in when such emergencies happen.
So now let me ask you to expatiate on what the company actually does. From our talk, we do videos, we produce videos. But you're now saying teach life-saving skills. Those don't sound like videos. Are those practical one-on-one life-saving skills?
Yes, they're practical.
Yes. In addition to what she has said, we go with a lot of things. We go with mannequins, the CPR mannequins. We go with bandages, we go with sticks, we go with everything, because we practicalize the different emergencies that are possible in a school or everyday life environment. When we were talking to basketballers, they had a national championship, while one of the teams...
What are basketballers?
Basketballers in
Oh,
sports.
okay.
Yeah, they had this national championship. In preparation for this, one of their players collapsed, you know, and they lost him.
Wow.
So they called us to do a training for them so that they will know what to do next time if this kind of thing should happen. By the time we finished, because we teach them what to do when someone collapses, when someone is bleeding, or someone has fracture, when someone is drowning, when someone is having an asthmatic attack, all these kind of things we practicalize, and we make them do hands-on on what to do. By the time we finished and we're like, any questions? This lady got up and started crying. She said, if only we had this 1 hour before we lost him, you know. And she said, we did everything wrong. We did everything wrong. Maybe we could have saved him, you know. So I was really touched.
What killed him? What was it? A heat stroke? What was it?
He collapsed, and
From
maybe
what?
a heart attack.
Okay,
You know,
okay.
maybe a cardiac arrest. He collapsed and they were pouring water on him, hitting him and everything, not doing the right things. And he didn't pick up, he didn't have a chance.
Tell my audience what the right thing is.
Yeah.
Let's gain from the knowledge now, Abi,
Yeah, so
before we move in.
Yeah, very quickly, because that's important and it's been happening around us. When someone just collapses around you, you just find someone suddenly unconscious. First of all, check if the person is breathing, and if the person has a pulse. If these things are not there, send someone to call for help while you start a CPR. The CPR is the chest compression. If you Google it, for example, you will see videos about CPR so that you will know exactly where to put the heel of your hand and support and use energy to pump, to do a CPR. If you're getting tired, you can exchange with your friend while somebody is getting professional help. You keep on, and a lot of times you may just discover that that person picks up again in breathing, But pouring water, this person is unconscious, water can go into the wrong place. The person can become cold from the water you are pouring, very wrong thing to do. So these were the things they were doing, and they lost this young man. So we finished the training with them, did training with road safety. We go to schools, to do training. In fact, 2 of our schools have them in their curriculum because we do a pre-test and a post-test for the secondary school, senior secondary school, SS1 to 3 students, so that these are people who can actually pick these things and reproduce them. So they put it as part of the curriculum. They're not tested for it in the WAEC, but they are tested for it in their school activities. So it becomes an annual thing for those sets of children. So we discovered that even though these people pay for the services we bring, at least to be able to cover the running cost of what we do there, we are better fulfilled even more than what they pay, because you never can tell how many people down the line you would be saving by teaching just a few people how to do the right thing when there's an emergency. So that's why it is called African Emergency Healthcare Practices
African
Limited.
Emergency Healthcare Services.
Yeah, because we are about those emergencies. One of the first stories we started with on our show was 3 delays in maternal mortality. This is another emergency stuff. People waste their time doing things wrong. Before they arrive, they will tell you that this hospital is bad, people always die there. This one, because people always arrive late, almost always arriving late. So these are the things we try to make people stop. But we have some challenges about what are our videos, and I'm sure we're going to come to why we get frustrated sometimes about our videos. And I'll quickly mention that most of the people that need to hear us are not on social media.
Okay. You produce videos.
Yes.
Let me again now summarize. You produce videos, and these are things that perhaps can be shared on social media.
Yes.
You do some site visits.
Yes.
These, do you do other things?
Well, we moved it to another level when we discovered the problem I just said. Most of our audience, most of the people that need to hear about this are not there, and they may not even speak good English. So in 2019, because we started all this in 2017, in 2019 we did a Hausa language show about maternal mortality, complete Hausa language. The aim of this show is to take it to primary health centers. Women leaders can have a discussion and play it. They don't have gynecologists, they don't have doctors, they don't have midwives, but they can now hear from the expert in a language they understand. Maternal mortality, like you said, it's high in Nigeria, but it's worse in northern Nigeria. So we decided to do it in that language so that where it can go as far as, and they will sit down in antenatal clinics in rural communities and watch the videos and discuss it among themselves. The videos are very practical, so we took it to that level, and recently we are taking another step.
And so yes, so there's still a lot to hear from you. And in the next episode, we will explore further. I have loads of questions which I will ask you. But again, for the sake of our audience, let me summarize really. So from the things they have noticed in their own life work within emergency facilities and so on, they felt there was a need for more information to the public about potential dangers that can be averted indeed if you know some basic maneuvers, and if you also not led astray by misconceptions, so that you can quickly avail yourself of medical help and do the right thing even before you get to the institution. So, but somehow or another, Alex and Everest, I think, still have a lot they haven't told us, and I'm going to get it out of them. But I'm going to thank all of you for having been with us this episode, and ask you not to miss the final episode, the next one, where they're going to describe a bit more detail and perhaps share how some of these things, their products were produced, and their experiences, even as they talk about what they will do in the future, because this project cannot stand still. There's a huge need for it. Our people need the right health information. Our people need, it's life-saving, it's obvious, and it's something we can all do as part of our contribution to better health and nation building for our people. So please be with us next week as we continue this amazing discussion. See you.